since in the previous video we've learned about the static block initializer, I think it makes perfect sense for me to teach you about the instance block initializer. So the instance block initializer is the exact same as static, so the exact same thing, but so let me just put it right after these instance fields or properties, and it goes like this, just like this. Have a look, literally just like this, without the keyword static. Now this right here, it's really important because at this point now you can basically have a look, you can refer to basically all the properties that you have, and you can assign, for example, default values if you want to do so. Also, if you want to execute a piece of code, you can do it. But more important, this is really useful when you have scenarios that you have multiple constructors. So here we have one constructor, another constructor, and you can see that in both of these constructors, we are actually incrementing count. So this is duplicate code. So if we basically add this to this instance initializer, so let's just take this from here and put it up here. Now we can delete this from both constructors because this now will be invoked once, and then the constructor. So let's actually take this in here and let's just say instance initializer. And the reason why I'm doing this is so that you see exactly basically the order of execution right here. And this is actually invoked once per instance, whereas this right here, it will be invoked as soon as the class is invoked, right? So once basically. So here, let me actually demonstrate to you. So if I go back to main in here, and let's just basically get rid of all of this because we don't need this in here. And now if I basically invoke this, but at the same time, I want to say south and then person dot and then count, right? So have a look. If I run this, start static initialization. So this was invoked in here and then it ends. So basically we added start and end. Then when we say new person, the instance initializer gets invoked before any of the constructors. Then the constructor is invoked. And finally here, so basically we want to know how many people have indeed been initialized. So this is one. So you can see that now we remove some duplication. So similarly, if I say new person, and let me just add a new line, so south. And if I run this again, have a look. So this time it works as before, but then have a look. The instance initializer is invoked once per instance, as I said, and you have the default constructor. And check this out. So you can see that the static initialization doesn't get invoked. It's only once as soon as the class is invoked, which is this very instance right here. And also what I'm missing here is basically the count. So let's just take the count right at the end. So south, whoops, and then count like that. And if I run it, you can see that we have 2 because we created 2 people in here. So there we go. This is basically the instance initializer. And this is really useful when, for example, within your classes in here, the same way that you've seen with static, you can perform some piece of code in here. But more important, when, for example, you must handle exceptions or you want to perform a calculation that can be expressed with an instance variable initializer. So here, if I say equals to, maybe I want to lowercase, right? So equals to full, and then do some calculation on top of it. Here I can't because I can only initialize this variable. Whereas within the instance block here, I can say this dot last name and equals to, and I can perform basically anything I want. So maybe here I want to do some business logic, so on and so forth, and then assign this to this, and you can see where we can go from this. So I thought maybe it would be interesting for you to know that you can also use the instance initializer. And I'll try and give you some more examples throughout this course. But basically in this course, you are learning the Java language. I thought maybe it's nice for you to be aware of this in case you've seen it somewhere. This is all for now. Catch me on the next one.